Do you suffer from analysis paralysis? Analysis paralysis is when a person thinks or analyzes a situation so much, so deeply, that finally they don't take any action. So when students ask me whether they should watch films with subtitles in their own language, subtitles in English, or without any subtitles, I always tell them that the most important thing is just to watch films and series in English and then worry about the subtitles later. That being said, you've clicked on this video because you want an answer, and I'm going to give you the advantages and disadvantages to all the three options we have. So thank you for joining me again, and welcome to any new viewers or subscribers. So, to subtitle or not to subtitle, that is the question. Now, when considering your options, you should always keep in mind that the priority must be to make it fun, because this needs to be a sustainable habit, not just something you do once. You watch one film or series in English and then continue watching them in your own language. No, this needs to be a long-term habit. And also, the option you choose depends on your objectives. It depends on your level, and it depends on how you feel on that day, at that moment, when you're sitting in front of your television deciding to watch a film or series in English. If you've had a long, hard day at work or at school and you're feeling tired, you probably don't want to watch a film without subtitles or with subtitles in English. You prefer just to relax and watch the film with subtitles in your own language. And that's fine, but you have to take this into consideration each time you sit down to watch a film. So having said that, now we're going to look at the advantages and disadvantages to each of the three options we have. So the first option we're looking at is watching the film in English with subtitles in your own language. Now, the advantages. Well, the most obvious advantage is that it's the easiest of the three options. So it's good for people with lower levels of English, and also for people who perhaps don't usually watch films in English. It's a good first step. It's a good introduction, so it's not too challenging. And also you can just enjoy the film. You can relax and enjoy the film. So again, as I said before, if you come home from a busy day or a hard day at school or in the office, and you don't really feel like making too much of an effort, you can just relax and watch the film and enjoy it. You're also going to understand the film better, so if you have a lower level, that may be the best option for you. Another advantage is that you can see how a word or phrase or grammar structure is represented in your own language, so it helps you to form ideas or make connections. You must be careful though, because sometimes the vocabulary and the grammar is not translated literally. They translate the idea but not the literal dialogue that is said. And the disadvantages to watching films with subtitles in your own language, well, one is that you will tend to focus on the subtitles and ignore the listening part of it. The subtitles will be sufficient for you to understand the film and the plot of the film and what's happening. So if you're not careful, you won't get the benefit of the listening. So you have to be a little bit proactive if you really want to improve your English. Another disadvantage is that it's too easy. As I said, one of the advantages is that it's easy, but if your objective is to improve your English, it's a little bit too easy for people with a higher level, because it's not challenging you. You're not forcing yourself to listen and understand and think about the grammar and the vocabulary. Okay, let's look at the second option we have. So watching a film with subtitles in English has many advantages, but one of the biggest advantages is that you can learn vocabulary and grammar in context, but with the two inputs of the audio, the listening, and the visual, the written subtitles. So this is probably the best option for people who have the objective of expanding their vocabulary or improving their grammar. Just because of the fact that you can see the sentences, the dialogue written in the subtitles. It will help you to process and remember what you're seeing. Another advantage is the pronunciation. When you see the words written as they're spoken, you can hear exactly how they are pronounced within a sentence, within context. So it may surprise you how the word is pronounced, or it may confirm what you already believed, what you thought was the correct pronunciation of the word. When the subtitles are in English as opposed to in your own language, you also tend to focus more on the listening, because you may not be able to read quickly enough, or you may not understand all the words, so you need to listen at the same time. So it's better than the first option for that, for the listening too. And finally, another advantage is that it's easier than the third option, which we're going to look at in a moment, but it's more difficult than the first option. So it's a nice middle ground. It's not too easy and it's not too difficult. So for people with an intermediate, upper intermediate level, this is a good option. A couple of disadvantages to this option. One is that although you're focusing a little bit more on the listening, people still tend to focus a little too much on the reading. Again, it depends on your objective. If your objective is just to expand your vocabulary and grammar, it's a very good option. But if you want to improve your listening, having the subtitles there is a bit of a distraction. Another disadvantage is that it can be difficult for people to follow the audio and the subtitles at the same time, especially people who don't have so much experience in watching films with subtitles. It may be better to start with the subtitles in your own language while you get the habit, and then move on to this step of watching them with subtitles in English. It is practice. You need practice to get good at it. Okay, let's look at the third option we have now. So, watching the film without any subtitles. Now obviously this is better for people who have a high level of English. It can be intimidating, but it has a lot of advantages too. So for example, I think the biggest advantage to this option is that you can enjoy the visuals of the film. Again, remember I said the priority must be to enjoy the film. So if you don't have any subtitles to worry about, you can enjoy what you're seeing. Enjoy the cinematography. But also you can see the non-verbal communication. And that's a big part of communication in any language, of course. You can see the body language, the facial expressions of the actor or the actress. So you will have a deeper understanding of the film, and you will be able to enjoy it more if you have the level to be able to understand enough of the dialogue to follow the film. Another advantage is that you can really focus on the listening. So if your objective is to improve your listening skills, this is the option to choose. Because again, you're not distracted by the subtitles, by the writing. You can really just concentrate on listening to the dialogue and understanding as much as possible. And also it's a more natural way of listening. You're just hearing what the actors, the characters are saying. So it's more of a real form of communication. Those are the three main advantages, but there are a couple of disadvantages, of course. The first disadvantage to this option is that it's very difficult. It's the most difficult option, of course. So again, as I said, I wouldn't recommend it for lower levels because it can be very demotivating and demoralizing. And this needs to be sustainable. You need to make this a habit of watching films in English. So if it's a real struggle, if it's a really difficult exercise for you, you're not going to do it again and again and again. You'll give up, you'll probably stop doing it. And the final disadvantage is that it's more difficult to learn new vocabulary and grammar when you don't see it written. You really have to pay a lot of attention to absorb the vocabulary and grammar structures. And as you just want to enjoy the film, I wouldn't recommend that. I would recommend that you just listen. And you will learn vocabulary and grammar, but in a more subconscious way. So, as you can see, there are advantages and disadvantages to each of the options. But remember, the priority is to make it fun. It must be a sustainable habit. Don't suffer from analysis paralysis. So, grab a remote, take a seat, and enjoy your favorite film.
Who's best man Gary? You know his best friend Patrick.